Chase by Dallas, make it hurt.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Let's Talk Commercial Real Estate Investing, the Black Community Edition. I am your humble host, Dominic Green, Managing Partner of Tenneco Commercial Real Estate Services. And today I'm out and about on assignment, but wanted to talk about retail because that's one of the things that I'm currently working on at the moment. We were here actually in Plano, so Shops of Legacy. Not too long ago, actually sold to an institutional investor. I looked at the deal. I was trying to get a glimpse of the deal, but they realized that I couldn't bring anything to the table as far as how much as the actual buyer. But nonetheless, I know that, again, you see headlines, retail's dead, but also now you're starting to see headlines about certain retail locations. They're doing retail sales per square foot pre-COVID numbers, right? Some of them are just saying, is this pent-up demand, or are we kind of getting back to normal? Especially now with the variant out, and that's created its own problems and may create a situation where things will kind of tamper down a little bit as far as activity, travel, and all that. But nonetheless, retail is still considered an investment. You just have to, it's more specialized. You gotta understand the retailer, because the retailer is one that's paying the bills. And understanding their business, who they're focusing on in the community. And I'll say it again, not only is real estate local, it's for the people, right? Whoever the person is, whoever the customer is. Whether it's multifamily, it's the residents, it's retail, it's the local community. It's about the people. So, especially at that particular shop, in that particular location, you have a high density amount of people that live in the vicinity, that work in these, especially if you guys familiar with people that work, in the area. So when it's time for lunch, they're out and about there. When it's time for dinner, they're out and about there. And then they go right across the street to the newer stuff that just recently was built, a couple years ago, where you have all your luxury retailers, and they're building some density there with homes. You got the Legacy Hall there, the food hall there, which has a variety of foods that come in that are different than what you get anywhere else. And provides also entertainment. So they create an experience. It's more of a destination. Now, in my opinion, from what I've seen, that with a deal like that, because they're also planning to build supposedly some more retail, which goes to the point of that when people discuss that we're over. We have more retail than we necessarily need, but yeah, they're building more, and so with the whole, especially up here, I think the Shops of Legacy has basically kind of taken a hit because of the other retail across the street. Being more of a destination. Have a variety of food options, and it's just newer. So, people love things that are newer. They love the experience, the food options still over there. A little bit more higher end, target of the demographic. But nonetheless, that you have kind of, there's only so many retailers that need space, and they don't want to cannibalize themselves. It's not like the old days where, you have one on every block. You got to be, they got to be more strategic, and some of the retailers figured that out. But it's still a fact that, based on the data, that, if you have a brick and mortar location, that helps with your online sales. It creates a point of contact for the experience of your customer. So it's not one of the things that's going away. But you also got to be mindful, especially like I said, with the Legacy West being built, we'll kind of, since I'm in the area, we'll kind of take a little look at it. There's people out shopping, out and about on a Wednesday afternoon. The garage is full. People are at work, so you do have a mixed use as well. So people actually work above, shop below, eat below. And you create more of a boulevard, right? So it's a different vibe than what you get from the shops of Legacy, where it's a bunch of stores on a main street. But it's also key because vehicles per day are a key metric for your retailers, right? How many eyeballs, how easy it is to get to them, that amount of traffic is free advertising for them. So that's important. But this here is more destination oriented, right? And for those of you who are familiar with, you come here on the weekend, there's a whole bunch of people. All right. So you got more of a mixed use feel here. A different experience that you would at the other location. But nonetheless, opportunity, right? You see the types of shops that are here, all right? Which is completely different than what you have at the shops of Legacy. So, I think, there are opportunities to invest in retail. Me, personally, I will be always looking at, out parcels, maybe single tenant net lease deals, but mostly out parcel properties that are next to or have great access, frontage, and to your anchors, your grocery anchors. Because again, even with everything that's going on, with the ability to click and pick up, people are still going in shopping for a variety of reasons. I know for myself, when it comes to like the vegetables and fresh produce, it's one of those things that, when they're picking, they're not necessarily picking the best. So it's one of those things that, I kind of go in there and want to make sure I get what I want to get. And then just the discovery part of it, right? While you're there, something new, something piques your eye. And you just don't get that from, clicking online, unless you're just picking up your traditional stuff, right? But the understanding about the grocery business, right? People shop on average 2 to 3 times a week. So that's a lot of traffic that's being generated. And so because of that, if with those out parcels, you get the opportunity to not siphon, but leverage or take advantage of that additional traffic. And that helps those retailers, right? Especially if it's one of those items that correlates to, the daily shopping habits of the consumers there, depending on what their level of income, right? All right, because, Costco has a different type of, different type of demographic of customers than, your standard super center Walmart, right? Or vice versa, your Target and your Whole Foods, right? It's just a different type of customer, which means for the type of retailers that are certain at certain price points, works for them in certain locations versus the other. Like at your Walmart, you usually see all your discounted type of retailers there, right? but then you also see medical there. All right. On your higher end, you see a lot of your ice cream shops and stuff that where it costs a little bit more, so you gotta have a little bit more disposable income. You're not necessarily trying to budget everything. All right. But that presents an opportunity, especially if you got the frontage, you got a couple of tenants, you're on a triple net lease, so you're passing majority of all the expenses, depending on the lease, and what's negotiated. But majority of the time, you're passing almost 100%. So there's no slippage in in your nets. You're getting basically reimbursed for all of it, if not paid directly. And you put a lot of responsibilities on the tenant. And at the end of the day, you collect your check, right? You collect the base rent plus the triple nets, but you're just really in it for the base rent. But one of the key things that you do have to pay attention to when you do get in retail, and this is something that I picked up from the guy who goes to ICSC, I guess, or has been, or actually was part of the creation. I want to say, believe it or not, but nonetheless, Rappaport, he talks about his journey, and all he does is retail. All right, he doesn't do anything else. That's all he's done. But he describes, where a lot of people get into trouble is being undercapitalized and having too much leverage. So when you're dealing with retail, you need to be around 65% loan value, loan to cost, as opposed to, with multifamily, you go all the way up to 80. And from what I've been hearing lately, you can go all the way up to 90. But nonetheless, 65%, because retail is an ever evolving space. It's about consumers, right? It's about the customers. So their taste changes, things change. So you gotta be able to sustain through those changes. But when it's good, it's really good. When it's bad, it can be really bad, depending on the type of tenants that you have and how they're servicing the local community. And I think, retailers have found a way to the word omni-channel. Like I said, leverage the brick and mortar, still have online, because you also heard here, the cost per click has gone up dramatically. You know what I mean? So if you can still get to a brick and mortar location that has great traffic, great synergy from other retailers, visibility, all that, it's still a great option. It's still a great investment, because at the end of the day, I always ask, so if that's the case, if retail's dead, so you're not going anywhere. Basically, you're just going to sit at home and get everything, which for some people it will. It'll be a mixture of that. But still, people, we still want to socialize. We still want to go out. I mean, think about this whole COVID thing. People were cooped up in the house and couldn't wait to get back out. People can't wait to get back to in-person meetings and all that, right? It's just human nature, right? So we're still going to get out. We're still going to go shop. People are out here shopping during, here in Texas, we had a tax-free weekend for back to school. Man, it was tons and tons of lines of people out. You couldn't find a parking space anywhere. Now, when it came to buying online and picking up, because you knew that you didn't want to be in those lines, that worked, right? And then sometimes some of the stores didn't have exactly what you wanted. While you're there, you can just order it right there, and then they'll have it shipped to the store, and you come pick it up or ship to your home, right? So just the convenience of it, right? You pick it up, you get it right then and there. So, there's still going to be use for it. I do agree that there is a lot of retail, so you definitely got to do a lot more due diligence. You got to be more careful what you're buying. Who's the customer? Is there a need being met? Is the need being met locally, regionally? How far out? 3 miles, 5 miles? I mean, typically, the mile radius is where you're going to get the majority of your customers at. And then, and also for those who look at like the street retail, the apartment on top and retail at the bottom. Just from my experience and working with tenants, you gotta be very, very careful and really understand like what's the driver, how, is this a destination type, or is this more enclosed, kind of what we're looking at Legacy West, where you're going down Boulevard and there's only shops, there, or as opposed to being on the main high vehicle per day traffic location, where there's more visibility. That varies because a lot of those properties, those street retail properties that are underneath the multifamily, man, don't last long because it's all about traffic, right? You're not getting a lot of traffic. The local area is mainly businesses, so they're only open when the business, when companies open, and if companies aren't at work and they don't necessarily need your particular product or service, then you're not making the type of money because retail is still expensive. I still haven't seen them lower this rent, right? They're not lowering the rent anytime soon. So they kind of held to maintain that, and you're paying a premium. So you gotta be able to pay that, and you gotta understand the metrics of the business. There's a lot more that goes into it. A lot more due diligence into it. But nonetheless, like I tell everybody, man, people are making money in all these niches. People making money in retail. People making money in office. People making money in multifamily, obviously. People making money in industrial, obviously. It's just about finding certain sectors, certain niches that fit your type of investment needs, and your comfort level and style, and going with that and really digging into it. So, but yeah, I just want to drop in, have a brief discussion since I was out and about, and this topic kind of came about because of what I was in the process of doing, helping a client out, while also doing my due diligence, looking for opportunities. Because like I said, I'm aiming and working towards workforce housing and affordable housing. Like I said, affordability. We're in an affordable crisis. I think we're going to be in one for a while. We were in it before COVID. It's just one of the things where people's wages ain't keeping up with expenses. And according to the National Low Income Coalition, website, they list all the states that are severe and severe cost burden, moderate cost burden. And, I know Dallas is one of them. Austin is definitely one of them. San Antonio slightly, Houston slightly. But I think it's just one of those things where affordability is going to be an issue. And then also just leveraging, what I know from being a tenant rep to make the best decision, and use that as we're building this platform as a base, and then get into all the other things, all the other types of real estate that I want to get into from the different sides at some point in time. But again, letting this be the platform for where we have these discussions. We share experience, share knowledge, collaborate more than compete. There's enough for everybody, honestly. But working together, being a resource, it's the whole reason for the platform that, and the conversation that I like to have. I don't know everything, but I'm always willing to learn. I'm always open-minded. Because you can never know it all. I mean, you learn something new every day. It's always changing, man. So it's one of those things you can't get bored. Does it move at a slow pace? Oftentimes, yes. But there's always something going on. So with that, like, share, subscribe. Definitely leave a comment. Let's continue the conversation. Hopefully we can continue to work together, find partners, have discussions. If there's anything particular that you guys want to talk more about, feel free to leave that comment. You can contact me personally. My information is definitely on the channel, and reach out. Let's continue to have this conversation, because like I said, the whole goal is to not only fulfill and serve purpose, but also build wealth generationally, have the cash flow from our investments so we can fund the things that are most important to us: family, friends, charities, missions, passions, you name it, right? It all starts there. It all starts with the money. It ends with the money in a sense. But, having more of our time back, actually having true freedom in a sense, to where we're not burdened that we have to do something. It's more of an option and a choice than a requirement. Because like I said, I think real estate is part of that strategy, part of that plan, along with owning businesses, owning stocks, owning corporate debt, stuff like that. It all plays a part. I'm playing the same wealth game that everybody else is playing, and I believe we can do it. And I'm just playing my part of economic, empowerment, if you would say. And hopefully grow up this platform to be big. Have my own Blackstone, right? We're going out and acquiring bigger and larger properties all across the country. So, hey guys, just wanted to tap in real quick. I was talking about retail the other day. Now I'm actually in Arlington. See, that's a Whole Foods right there, Blaze Pizza. Right? Now, this is on Collins Street, so it's a very high traffic vehicles per day. Of the location. Right across the street is a neighborhood Walmart. You couldn't, you can't fit a super center in there. The city wouldn't allow it. It's typically the reason. But here's something here. I can't remember exactly what was here before, but a while back. This was one restaurant, maybe two. But on the cap, you got a Starbucks, which is a credit tenant. And then right on the other side is a Bank of America. Now, as a person that will look at this opportunity, like, well, hey, potential for a different type of restaurant, and then maybe some type of dental, if possible. You got enough parking, you got an outdoor patio. You got more parking in the back. And then again, like I said, you got the bank. Alright. So I'm pretty sure this line is long in the morning for Starbucks, which means people got disposable income. Bank of America, people come to pick up stuff from the bank. Visit the bank. Probably more so for the automatic teller. Somebody got their car, so it must be an employee. They got their car parked there, so not necessarily doing a lot of interior business. But Walmart across the street, traffic generator. Starbucks is a cap on the cap. You got high vehicles per day. I'm not sure what they let's see who actually owns it. See if maybe there could be an opportunity. But again, like I said, just something to pick up on. Chipotle across the street. I want to say it used to be a Chipotle, but I think they just moved across the street for more parking. Maybe better terms. Like I said, a lot of traffic generators, heavy vehicle traffic. Could be something to look into. Alright guys, like I said, Whole Foods right there too. Disposable income. Alright, peace.
These my dollars make it hurt.